Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my videos, and this is Vicky with Making Moments and Memories, and today we're going to make a pet loss card. This one's for dogs obviously, but we're going to use the cat background stamp. So both of these stamps, they're large background stamps. This one, it's called Doggone Friendly, which is currently on Stampin' Up, and I right now cannot remember how much this one is. But we're going to use the Meow Mates with the large cat background. A couple of things. If you don't want to do this large of a card, you could just stamp part of this cat stamp, and you could just circle punch and kind of highlight one of the cats and one of the dogs, so you wouldn't have to make it this big. It just seems like whenever I need a pet loss card, I don't have one. So I'm going to be making a couple of them, and I'm probably going to put the "So Sorry for Your Loss" on all of them, which is not, this is not a Stampin' Up stamp. They had some older sets that did have some cute pet things. This was an older one, Happy Tails, A Best Friend Leaves a Paw Print on Your Heart, So Sorry for Your Loss. So I might use some of these for the inside, and they also have, this was an older one, Wonderful As You, and It's Hard to Say Goodbye. So I think I'm going to put that on the inside of this one. And then, so let's do, so the measurements for this are, the card's 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So it's just an 8.5 sheet. Then I used mixed media paper. Then this top black piece, I cut out a black, or I cut out a square with a die, and then I layered it onto the card base. And the mixed media paper, I'm just using, it's just a generic mixed media. This was watercolored with just watercolor ink with my ink refills. That's how I did this one. So I just took some of the Stampin' Up ink refill and put them in a little well, and I just kind of paint brushed the rainbow on, because I wanted this to be like they were crossing the rainbow bridge. So that's how I did this one. But the cat one that we're going to do today, I'm going to use Distress Oxides. So that's how we're going to do the cat background. However, I'm going to do the inside. I want to at least get the sentiment on the inside of this one, so I can kind of set this card aside. So we're going to do that. It's Hard to Say Goodbye. Again, an older stamp set, but Stampin' Up has a lot of stuff right now that would work for the inside of these. A lot of sympathy and card stamps, or card sets that would work. And I'm gonna put this in the center because I might put some paw prints and things like that on the inside of this as well. All right, so that stamp set, I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to let this dry a little bit. And like I said, I might put some more things on the inside of that. And let's do the background. So I'm going to set this one aside. So again, we're going to, instead of this watercolor that I use, we're going to use Distress Oxide. And to do that, same thing, mixed media paper. But in order to get the background of the cat on here, we're going to do some embossing. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy to kind of anti-static that. I am going to ink this up with black Memento. You could do brown Memento. You can really do, I mean, you could do this in rainbow color and not even worry about a rainbow background. So a lot of options with this background stamp. And actually, I take that back. I'm going to use VersaFine Black because I'm going to clear powder emboss over top of it so it's kind of shiny. So VersaFine Black is what I'm actually going to use. And I'm going to ink this up. And I'm using a stamp tool. You don't have to, but I do find it easier if I'm doing a series of these cards. And I'm going to do probably 2 or 3 more after this. So I just keep it in the stamp tool. And then I can just kind of keep going right down and do like a little assembly line, if you will. So, but the first one we'll stamp this together and we'll do the clear embossing powder. And you just want to make sure you're pressing evenly, but the stamp tool, if you do miss something, you could kind of ink it back up, make it a little stronger, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. And then we're going to pop this out of here. Take that tape off. And we're going to put clear embossing powder all over this black. And then we're tapping the excess powder off because we can reuse it. All right, I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to cover this up for now. And you can see how an assembly line, sorry about moving the camera there. You can see how the assembly line for this works nicely. And I didn't clean my stamp, so I'm just going to put paper inside of that for a second. And then we are going to heat emboss this background. It takes a little bit to set that clear powder on that black ink, but you can see now it's starting to heat up and raise up here. These little cats are cute. I'm not a cat person. I'm definitely more of a dog person, and my family they'll tell you that, but I'm definitely more of a dog person. We have 2 dogs, and they're spoiled rotten. But I know so many people that are cat lovers, so this is a great card in case they do lose a cat. And what I'm doing is just kind of checking right now to make sure that everything's been heat set. Because if you don't get all that clear powder heated and set, it will come off and not look as shiny as all the other parts. But that looks pretty good. I don't know why this middle cat, though, he doesn't look as shiny. There we go, he wasn't. There we go. Okay. Now, as far as coloring this, you could you know, color this with colored pencils at this point because the black ink is set. So you could color this right now with anything. If you were to do the black memento, you'd be best to color with like an alcohol marker or something like that. But at this point, we can color with anything we want. So I'm going to start with Lumberjack Plaid Red. And I did this a couple times with Saltwater Taffy and Squeezed Lemonade. But then another time, I just did these two to make the orange. So I don't know if I'm gonna put the Saltwater Taffy in or not. We'll see. Then I'm gonna use Twisted Citron, Salty Ocean, and Wilted Violet. And we're gonna use different brushes for each color. And the other thing is they will take a little bit to dry as far as the oxide. So I usually will take a Post-it note, and what I'll do is with the sticky side is I'll stick that to my finger, and I'll do that so that I'm not getting ink elsewhere because these oxides will be a little bit damp at first. So I'm gonna start with red. And I do like the glass mat, but you don't need it, but I like the glass mat because I can start off my page and then kind of blend into my page. So I'm gonna try to do that rainbow look. So I'm gonna start off the paper here and just kind of get that rainbow appearance. And you can go as heavy with that rainbow color as you want and as far down as you want. You don't even have to try to get all of the Roy G. Biv rainbow onto your card if you just wanted to do a few colors. And you can see how that black is just kind of staying raised and maintaining the black integrity. And then I think at this point, I think I'm going to just go in with yellow and see if I can turn some of that into an orange. And we'll try to do that. So this is the Squeezed Lemonade. We'll see if we can kind of do a yellow-orange combo here. And you're going to find the same thing when you get into the green, that, you know, it'll start to mix with the yellow and make different shades. So it really is dependent on how much of a transition in that rainbow you want. And you might want to go straight across. I'm kind of going at an angle. You might want to go straight across. So I'm going to add a little bit more red here. See if I can get a little more of an orange. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, now remember which brushes are which. This one's the yellow. Set that aside. And we'll go into the green, and this is Twisted Citron. And then you can always go back over this as well with different amounts If you want to make it a little bit darker. And I think when I went over this Twisted Citron, I went a little further down with this green, and then I went over it with some more blue, and it made it a darker green when I went over it with the blue. So I think that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna grab that blue, Salty Ocean. And then we're gonna frame this, so you don't have to worry too much about the side. Yeah, see how I'm going over the citron a little bit with this blue, and it's kind of turning it a little bit of a green, darker green. Oh my gosh, that's turning out really cute. And it's not any faster to do this or the watercoloring. So it's really just kind of a preference, or it depends what supplies you have. And I'm gonna do just a little bit more green up here. Okay. And then we're gonna go in with the Wilted Violet. And we'll go up here. And like I said, I am using mixed media paper, so this is blending a little easier than it would if you were just to use like a white construction paper or a white copy paper or something like this, or something like that, I should say. Let's do a little more. What color was on that one? That was blue. Let's do it just a little bit more blue. Grab another Post-it. Just want to go a little heavier with that blue. There. Oh my gosh, is that cute? All right, so now at this point you can let this dry a little bit. You can kind of heat set it a little bit with the heat gun, or just let it air dry. And so I did not use the saltwater taffy. I just ended up, to get that orange, I just kind of blended the red with that yellow. So that's what ended up making that color. All right, at this point, I already pre-cut the black cardstock for the frame. So this is gonna layer over top of this. Look how cute that is. So I'm gonna take my sentiment and I'm gonna emboss. Let me just wipe this off. That and sentiment on the front. We're gonna do that next. And for that I used white embossing powder on here. So let me set that aside and grab our little embossing buddy. And so sorry for your loss. And we're gonna use Versamark to do the clear. So Versamark, and so I say clear for this, but we're gonna use white embossing powder. We used clear embossing powder on this black. We're gonna use clear ink with white powder on this one. And just kind of center that. And it's sticky and you can barely see it. And it's probably even harder to see on camera. And then this is white powder. and then we're gonna heat set that. Well, I got a couple, hold on, I got a couple stray white pieces. Get that off of there. Just a couple. The anti-static basically helps it from this little powder tool. People say it's just cornstarch or a talcum powder, and it keeps it from the white powder sticking to all of your cardstock. But it did stick a little bit to this black more than it usually does. There we go. And a lot of times I start from the back so that you don't blow all of your powder off the front that you just put down. And then same thing, just kind of wait for this to kind of get that wet look. And you can overheat stuff to where it'll just look dull. It'll still be white, but it won't look, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this kind of looks like wet paint. If you overheat it, it isn't going to look like that. And then we just have to assemble the card. So the card base, like I said, this is for the inside. So it was just 8.5 paper scored at 4 1/4. This piece was just it was out of a mixed media binder. So I think this was like 6 by 8. And then this piece is 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. And we're just gonna glue it down and frame it over what we just created, like that. So I'm gonna trim a little bit off of these edges. And you can do this beforehand if you want to have an exact piece ready to go before you frame it. I just kind of like having a bigger piece to work around and give myself a little forgiveness to put behind this black frame. So this way, it's not a perfect white piece, but I'm gonna trim that. And you can keep this. It's, you know, good paper that you could do some other stuff, some other mixed media with. And then we're gonna glue this down with just some liquid glue. And I just kind of do the edges. And then you're gonna glue the whole thing to a black card base. Now you could do a different colored card base as well. It doesn't have to be black. But I'm sticking with black on black. So I'm gonna grab, I need a piece of scrap paper to glue this on. Let's see if I have anything under here. I do not. Well, we're gonna get glue on this glass mat then. And the liquid glue gives you a little bit of wiggle time to kind of place this black frame where you want. All right, and then we're gonna add it to the base. And I'm gonna put white or glue on this white piece because I did not put any on here. And make sure the card is opening in the right direction. And then this just has like a, 1/8 of an inch border size-wise. So we're going to just kind of center that. This is loose powder from my glass mat because I have a little pile of powder right there. And then make sure that, and I usually put something heavy on top of this to, you know, make sure that it's glued and that it stays nice and flat. That mixed media paper will sometimes curl on you depending on how wet the ink is, how wet you got your paper for watercoloring it. But yeah, so that's our card. And I will link the stamp set, the cat and the dog, but remember it's just a background stamp, so it is not going to come with sentiments. And you're gonna have to, you know, see what you want. You could write something, write your own message on the inside if you wanted to. And I was looking for the other card that I had made. So we did, this was off camera. This is the Doggone Friendly. I think it's this one. Yeah, Doggone Friendly. And it's hard to say goodbye in the inside. And again, I'm just gonna center that on the inside. And I think I'm gonna put the same thing in with the cat one. This is called Meow Mates. And this is a newer release. This just came out, maybe two to 3 months ago. And I will also have these for sale on my Facebook page. They are not on there yet, but if you're interested in shopping and buying these from me, I would appreciate it. I'll put that link in the description box as well. So thanks for watching and have a great day.